Okay, thanks again for staying with us on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television. On Tuesday, the National Assembly amended the 1999 Constitution. From the amendment, from the bills passed, we saw Judiciary, local government autonomy, as well as State House of Assembly autonomy seeing the light of the day. Not so with the 35% affirmative action. And there's been a lot of talking along those lines, and we brought a political scientist from the University of Benin to help us make sense of what has happened so far with the amendment to the 1999 Constitution. Neville Obagedos from the Department of Pro-Science, University of Benin. Neville, thanks again for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me this morning. Good morning, viewers at home.
Okay, this is an amendment that is a long time coming. I'm sure at the 8th Assembly or so, efforts were made in this direction. What makes this time's amendment pretty unique?
The issue of a constitutional amendment or constitution making, constitutional alteration, constitutional review, and so on. These are buzzwords that we have been hearing in Nigeria from the time Nigeria was established to date. And with some of the issues that Nigerians wanted to be included in the amendment that were not included or that were not amended, we know that we have not seen the end of the amendment to the 1999 Constitution. This recent amendment is the 5th amendment of the 1999 Constitution. It goes to show that there are so many things that are wrong with the way and manner the Nigerian state is being governed, especially the role of citizens and institutions. And people have been clamoring for an inclusion of these citizens and the organs and levels of government so that governance can get to the grassroots and there can be effective and active and positive participation in the political process. Now, for a very long time, we have been hearing and people have been clamoring for independence of the judiciary and the legislature from the executive, which is supposed to be the normal thing in a situation of a presidential system of government that we say we run. But because of the impact and the culture of military regime and the fact that those who occupy executive positions at federal and state level, they will not want devolution of powers and total separation of powers for these organs of government to stay on their own and be autonomous in a way. But with this arrangement, with this current review of the Constitution or an amendment or an alteration of the Constitution, these are words that they use to qualify the process.
Interchangeably.
Yes. We can now say that, yes, the current crop of National Assembly leaders, they are trying to do the right thing and try to put the organs of government on a level playing field and on a sound footing for effective delivery of good governance to the people of Nigeria.
Fantastic. Several of the alterations saw the light of the day. We can count so many, even from our fingers, talking about the autonomy of the judiciary, autonomy of local government, and then, of course, autonomy of state houses of assembly. This is something that has been agitated for such a long time, but it's not the first time we're at this point. Somehow, there's always a turnaround in the whole process, particularly with some of the agitations or allegations that are coming forward that state governors may end up circumventing this. But let's take it from the point of view that it's been passed by the National Assembly. What does this portend for institutions of governance?
The National Assembly should be applauded for deeming it fit to right the wrongs of the past in terms of the way the legislature and the judiciary at state levels have been like an appendages of the executive arm of government. We have to applaud them for that. And the problem that we are likely to have in the implementation is the attitude of the executive. When I say the executive, the attitude of the governors, who will try through their aides to say that we should follow the spirit of the Constitution and not the letters of the Constitution. In that case, that autonomy that the Constitution has pronounced, that the amendment as included in the Constitution, may not be carried out the way it's supposed to be carried out. I will give you an instance. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is very categorical about people that have been given appointed positions in government and how they can be involved in the electionary process. But recently, we saw an amendment to the Electoral Act that tried to outright or diminish that constitutional provision, which the president himself highlighted the day he was going to sign the Electoral Act into law. And my take on that is that the president would have rejected signing the bill because the bill was competing with the
provisions of the Constitution.
Yes. And in law, any provision in an act or in a law that is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution should be set aside to the extent of that inconsistency. But the president proceeded to signing it. After signing it, he made a statement, or before signing, he made a statement, yet he signed it. The act will not still be carried out. But those who are going to carry the act out and the people that are appointed at that section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act, as it is presently passed, is going to affect. They are supposed to go to court now, to the Supreme Court,
to challenge
it and ask the Supreme Court to set aside that aspect, so that in the course of this electionary process that is in the horizon, people will not begin to say that the provisions of an act supersedes that of the Constitution by their actions. So in the same vein, when we are talking about autonomy for the state judiciary, autonomy for the local government, we are now waiting for the governors to respect that provision of the Constitution. And if the governors refuse or fail or neglect to obey that constitutional provision, they are supposed to be taken to court, because no individual, no organization, no institution of government can disregard the provisions of the Constitution and go scot-free. But because of the recruitment process into the local government administration of Nigeria, in terms of appointment of supervisory councillors, election of councillors and local government chairmen, when there is no internal democracy in the political parties, and they are picked either by the governor or picked by some semi-godfathers in the various wards and local government, they will not be able to challenge any governor who is disregarding the Constitution. And the court cannot just wake up, the judge cannot wake up from his chambers or from his bedroom and begin to say, I hear on the page of newspaper that Governor A or Governor B is not obeying the provisions of the Constitution. You have to come to court with the facts that this is what is happening, and then the court will take action on it. The same thing is also applicable to the judiciary, because the recruitment process into the hierarchy of the judiciary is also something that sometimes it worries people who are concerned about the political development of Nigeria in general and of the various states that make up the country in particular. For example, when they want to recruit people to become magistrates, judges, and the rest of them, the process to be followed, where those who are known to be partisan politicians, and yet they are people They are members of the temples of justice. They are not recruited to the judiciary, because when issues of election, partisan politics are brought before the court, you will know that these people they are going to take decisions
in a particular direction.
Yes, in a particular direction.
Because they've been planted there, right?
Yes,
from the word go.
and that will now begin to affect the future, because judicial presidents that they are going to make reference or that they are going to pronounce, their pronouncement will not become judicial president that people will be making reference to. And that is very, very unhealthy for a country that is having an emerging democracy like Nigeria.
Okay, let's quickly talk about a very important part of the amendment that has to do with people leaving one political party to another, having won an election under the platform of a particular party, and then somewhere along the line, you find an excuse to leave that political party and move to another political party. From the amendment, from what has been passed by the National Assembly, that can no longer happen. If you do it, it means you're losing your seat or losing that position immediately. It applies. We've seen that with governors. We've seen that with House of Assembly members, National Assembly members. What do you make of this, inclusion in this alteration in the Constitution?
First and foremost, because of the fact that we are trying to entrench a democratic culture that is unknown to the civilized world. That's the reason why somebody will win an election as a House of Assembly member, or as a National Assembly member, or even as a governor. The next thing, because of crisis in his party, or his or her party, the person will just say, I move my political machine, I move my members and supporters to go to Party B from Party A. Now, the problem that we are having is beyond the decamping that we are talking about, which the constitutional amendment is trying to cater for. I will give you an instance. Political parties in Nigeria, especially those who control the machinery of political parties in Nigeria, they are doing it as if there is no due process written in their constitution, where a every member of a political party, even if the person is a governor, a National Assembly member, of rep member, local government chairman, can be disciplined when the person is involved in anti-party activities. They behave as if, for example, a man becomes a governor, and the man, after becoming a governor, because of the structure of the party across the local governments and across the territorial district of the state, the governor will now begin to create a parallel structure that is contrary to the one that brought him to power. In that situation, the other members of the political party, the structure that brought the governor, they will not be happy. So instead of inviting the governor to say, come and face disciplinary processes in line with the provisions of the Constitution, for fear that the governor may use thuggery, disgruntled elements to attack them at the places they are going to be holding meetings and be inviting the governor. They will just go to one place, maybe a UJ press center, and issue a statement that the governor has been suspended. Then the opposite group will also do the same thing.
So it's a case of suspension and counter suspension.
Now, when we are talking, the other day they were talking about hijack of political parties, because when the National Assembly came up to say that there should be a transparent intra-party election that is direct. They were not trying to say that political parties do not have the right to throw their candidates. They saw from their experiences and from what they have known from 1999 date and even from previous republics, that when you allow people to hijack, when you allow governors, National Assembly members, ministers to hijack the machinery of the political party, you can never get true representatives of the party to contest election with other political parties in a general election. And in their wisdom and based on their experiences, they said there should be direct primaries in all political parties. people wanted her to let loose, to say no, you cannot, National Assembly cannot determine. Those of us who are making comments on television, newspaper, and elsewhere, we don't know and understand the political process and electoral processes of political parties more than those who are in the National Assembly, because they may have been House of Assembly members, they may have occupied positions that make them to be involved in the
even right from maybe the local government level through the state to the National Assembly.
Unanimously, they discover that the only way to ensure that the best candidates are thrown up is direct primaries, and they put it in the Electoral Act. People were saying, no, it cannot be like that. And now the president bowed to pressure and decided that parties should not be allowed to choose
their mode of primary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, why am I saying that one? It is because of the fact that this crisis that later follow election of a person or persons in a political party, and the fact that they are not going to be dancing to the whims and caprices of those who help them to get to position of authority, that will now lead to conflict in the political parties. That will not make them to say, okay, I'm the one that is having the money as governor, I'm the one having the money as a National Assembly member. Instead of remaining in that political party, let me just go to Party B because I have the money. When I have the crowd, as soon as I tell them I want to join them, they will welcome me, and I will, from being a leader in this party, I will just enter there and become a leader in the other party. So this is the way we have been subverting democracy, and we are not be consolidating democracy in Nigeria. So when the National Assembly has risen to the occasion now to say no more decamping after winning election from Party A to Party B, whether you are governor, whether you are a National Assembly member, whether you are a State Assembly member, as soon as you do that, you are going to lose your position. So we are going to now see, now that it is now a law, whether governors, whether National Assembly member, whether local government elected chairmen and councillors, whether they will now have to go back into the crisis management mechanisms in their political party to resolve the crisis they have with the leaders of the party and remain in the party, or whether they are willing to lose their seats because they want to go to another political party. Time shall tell.
Time shall tell.
Yes, sir.
2023 is just a testing ground for that particular last comment that Neville Obahedo just made. If you just join us, it's the TMI Thursday, and we're looking at some component parts of the Constitution alteration that has already been done by the National Assembly. And now, before I take you further, I just want to take you backward a little bit, because we talked about some of the past components of the Constitution: autonomy for local government, judiciary, and of course state houses of assembly. How realistic is this coming into reality? And that's against the background that we know that the state houses of assembly still have a role to play for all of these to materialize. And in many states of the Federation, if not all the states, the state houses of assembly, they are more or less tied to the apron strings of the state executive or the state chief executive. Navio.
The issue is that, as we have always said, that everything that is happening to the political process in Nigeria today, especially in terms of election and elected persons in positions, is the recruitment process. That recruitment process starts from the political parties throwing up their candidates at the intra-party level. Now, if a governor of any state is the one that is using money to sponsor candidates in a state house of assembly election, let's say the case of Edo State, I'm not saying it happened here. Let's say we have a governor now. The governor will say, okay, for the 24 House of Assembly seats, I will bring money and sponsor PDP candidates so that when they are now members of the House of Assembly, they can help me to achieve my aim as governor. That is uncalled for. In the first instance, a House of Assembly is not to go and be engaging the governor in a bout, boxing bout. Okay, we are going to let the governor know that we are the people that make law. We are going to make sure that if he does not dance to our rules and caprices, we are going to get the governor impeached. if that is the mindset that they have before they go to the House of Assembly, then they should not be there in the first instance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The purpose of having the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary is for stability and equilibrium, is for development of the state at state level and development of the country at the national level. Now, it is true that they can have disagreements on issues that have to do with the betterment of the society or otherwise. But we discover that people go there now, for instance, because they want to go and make money. And because they want to go and make money, not to make laws that will better the lot of the people of the state, they will now want to be dancing to the winds and caprices of the governor, so that even if the governor is doing what is affecting them, they will not be able to cry out. For example, those of them that their children want to be involved in marriage, they will go and meet the governor and say, Your Excellency, my daughter or my son want to get married. And the Excellency will just say, okay, when is the wedding coming up? I will be there. But meanwhile, just wait, let me give you some money. Just bring one bag and say, take, go and give this is my support for your sons or daughters' marriage. That money may not get to the daughter or the son the way the governor releases the money. But the point is that such a person, if the governor is presenting a bill or is taking an action that requires discipline from the House of Assembly, he will not muster the courage to do so. That same person, all other members, they may have barrier to control. They will call the governor, Your Excellency, I just lost my mother-in-law, I lost my father-in-law, I lost my father.
If he doesn't respond,
yes. And the governor must not usually respond.
If it doesn't, because a grant for impeachment, is that what you're saying?
No, it's not a grant for impeachment. They know that the governor will normally respond.
Okay.
So they will normally make this demand. Sometimes their children will be traveling abroad. They say, my children want to.
So you're saying this could be a grant for exploitation of the governor?
Yes. So when they now exploit the governor, they cannot now muster the courage again to come and challenge the governor if the governor is doing what is not right.
Okay.
So that is why you see all of them, almost all of them, they are like tied to, they are like an extension of government house across the country. And that is the reason why those who are not even on the side of the governor, even though they are in the opposition party, they have a place where they meet with the governor, for the governor to say, okay, take your share, even though you're on the opposition, just
so that they can also benefit from the largesse, so to speak.
In that case, if the governor is violating the constitution now, they will not muster the courage to say the governor is violating the constitution. Based on this provision, we are going to now say a governor that is violating the constitution need to be impeached.
So are you against the autonomy of the State House of Assemblies?
No, I'm not against the autonomy of the State House of Assembly. I'm not against autonomy of the local government. I'm not against any autonomy of any organ of government or level of government that will lead to delivering the goods of good governance. I will not be against it. What I'm against is the fact that the people that have been granted autonomy, they don't know how to use the autonomy for the benefit of the institution that they are in. The reason is because of the way they were recruited. Let me give you another instance. If local government will give you autonomy right now, and then the governor of a state is APC, for instance, and then all the local government chairmen will now be elected at the platform of APC. All the councillors will now be elected at the platform of APC. Not because it was a transparent election. It's because it was a manipulated process. And in that process, if the governor fails to now dance to the whims and caprices of the autonomy that will be given to local government, these local government chairmen, in the name of Algon, they cannot challenge the governor. If they do not challenge the governor, the Supreme Court justices cannot, on the page of newspaper, say that we hear that the governor of a state A in South is not obeying the constitution. Let us bring a judicial process against the governor. They cannot.
No, they can't. It has to be instituted.
Yes, it has to be instituted by the people that violation is affected.
That are affected directly.
But because of the way all of them are always, because if they conduct an election in Edo State, the ruling party in Edo State will win the local government election. All the chairmanship position, all the councillorship position will be won by the party in the state. If you go to Delta State, if you go to Delta State, that is how they are doing it. In that case, no one of them will be able to challenge their governor if their governor is violating the provisions of the constitution in terms of their autonomy.
Yeah, and I'm also concerned by the fact that even as we have this conversation on the autonomy of local government, is the burgeoning issue of lack of democracy at the local government level, where state chief executives could just decide for up to 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, or maybe throughout the entire duration of an administration, you don't have elected officials at the local government level. Do you have concerns for this, Neville?
We have had the opportunity of talking about the failure and absence of governance at the grassroots level. The drafters and crafters of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, they have said in certain provisions of the Constitution, certain passages of the Constitution, that Nigeria is a country of 3 levels of government: federal government, state government, and local government. That local government, people don't understand it. That local government, governors don't understand it. That local government, party leaders don't understand it. What is local government? If I ask you now, where are you from? You will say you are from Eastern West local government, for instance. You are not from Eastern West local government. You are from Eastern West local government area. That is the area you are from. What is the government? Is the government that will be put in place to preside over that local government. That is the government.
Yeah.
So if we say we have 18 local government areas in Edo State, we are also expecting to have 18 local governments that have been elected by the people
from the 18 local government areas.
18 local government areas.
Okay.
If that is missing, it is unfortunate. Now, the provisions of the law for election in each of the states of the federation into local government, they specify the period that the local government that have been elected will last, when the local government will wind up, and when another local government can come. They also make provision for interim government. What do we mean by interim government? That is a caretaker government that will be in place before an election is conducted. That caretaker government is not supposed to be public servants that are working in the council to be presiding over. It is a government that is, caretaker government that is drawn from people that make up that, from the various words that make up that place. Caretaker government. For example, if we are in Obja, as we are in Obja Northeast now, you want to put a caretaker government in place, you have to pick people from the wards that make up this local government. Chairman, caretaker chairman, councillor, caretaker councillor, like that.
Yeah.
If that is missing, again, it is unfortunate. The absence of governance, because today we are talking about poverty in the land. Today we are talking about insecurity in the land, whether Edo State or elsewhere. And one of the reasons is because of the absence of governance at the local level. Let me take the issue of insecurity. In Edo State, let me start from Akoko Edo. Akoko Edo is a local government that is bounded to the north by Kogi State, around the Ogurimagogo and the Ihimas or Gaminana local government. Then on the Ondo State side, you also have some other communities that are close to
Akoko Edo.
Akoko Edo. Akoko Edo is like a transit community to the north and the southwest, and even to the south-south. Now, you see the kind of crime that take place there. The people don't have anybody to cry to. No local government chairman to cry to. The person that is at the helm of affairs there is the director of local government, who may be from Benin here, who may be taking off from Benin the morning to go to Akoko Edo, or maybe staying at Auchi and be going to that place on Monday to maybe Friday, or Monday to Wednesday. Then on Thursday and Friday will be in Benin here. He may come from Abudu. All of them, whether local government chairman elected or they are always resident in Benin here. Yeah. They take off from here to wherever they are. That is those that are even elected, not to talk of those who are not elected, who were posted from various parts of the state to where they are. And they are there. They are even afraid of their own security. So how can they now be concerned about the security of the various communities that make up in those communities?
Yeah.
So that is how it is across the state. So I'm using this medium to appeal to our state governor to proceed to conduct election into the local government areas of Edo State, where the people can elect their own government in all the 18 local government area of the state. So that these people, the local government chairman, these people, the councillors, they can help the government of Edo State in the area of security and in the area of poverty, or fight against poverty.
Okay. Let's quickly look at another very major talking point on the amendment of the Constitution, or alteration of the Constitution, like you rightly mentioned, the issue of 35% affirmative action. With this amendment, two VIPs were at the National Assembly. First, it was the First Lady, and then the wife of the Vice President. The wife of the Vice President's visit to the National Assembly, I think it was a house that eventually had to do a vote to admit her in attendance at the National Assembly. I don't know what impact those visits made, if after all said and done, 35% affirmative action still didn't see the light of the day.
You see, it pains me that we have people in corridors of power. We have people that want to be involved in governance without learning the art of governance. That's the ART of governance. It's just like marriage. Because you have money, or because you feel that you are matured, or mates are getting married, you should not just jump into marriage. You have to learn the art of marriage before you enter into marriage, so that the challenges and the crises of adjustment that will come with it, you'll be able to cope with it, both the man and the woman. When you fail to immerse yourself in the art of marriage, the crisis that will come will just guillotine the marriage within the first 6 months. And when you are hearing of people have separated after 6 months, 1 year, it is because of the fact that they went into marriage with a lot of ignorance. And the Bible says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. So marriages perish because of lack of knowledge. In the same way, people who want to have impact, who want to be involved in the political process, they also suffer for lack of knowledge. Now let's come to the issue of the First Lady and the Vice President's wife. If you like, you say the second lady. Yeah. They are busy to the National Assembly. To me, it was just like let them just see us that we have gone there. Because decisions that are taken in the National Assembly, they are not taken on the floor of the House. They are taken in various rooms, various hotels, various houses, meetings,
various quarters.
Yes, those are the places that decisions are taken. They are only coming to approve and ratify them on the floor of the House.
Yeah.
So, if the wife of the president and the wife of the vice president, if they understood lawmaking and the intricacies that are involved in it, they are so called to invite a member or members of the National Assembly that will actually determine the direction of the vote. You just call me now as a member of the distinguished senator Neville Obakedo. This is the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Amacha Buhari. Even if I'm eating, I will drop my spoon. First Lady calling me. Yes, Madam, Your Excellency, I would like to see you at the presidential villa. Or where are you? I want to come and meet you there. They will not come. As she's coming, she will come with an envelope. Come with people that can even talk on her behalf. They will just talk and talk and talk. She will just say, Mr. Distinguished Senator, please, so you know I'm a woman and the matter is before you people at the National Assembly. Please, just help me to talk to your colleagues. You will drop the envelope and leave. That is lobbying. It is lawful. Now, the colleagues that you are telling the senator to go and talk to, you also have their numbers. You go and reach them. By the time these senators will be reaching the other senators to say, First Lady came to see me, they will also say, First Lady came to see me. I tell you the truth that if the First Lady had done that, Vice President would have did the same thing. That 35% affirmation would have scaled through. Just coming to the floor of the House because they said today they are going to vote on 35% affirmation. They just went there to waste their time.
Are you blaming them for the rejection of the 35% affirmative action?
I'm not blaming
the first lady and the second lady?
I'm not blaming them for it.
Okay.
If they went there because they wanted it to be passed in favor of women, the homework they were supposed to do, they did not do it. I'm not blaming them because our society is a male-dominated society.
Yeah.
And the fact that men want their women to remain at home while they struggle in the political arena could have influenced the National Assembly members not to give them 35% affirmation. But it would have been possible if there were to be a little effort from those that are
through lobbying.
Yeah, through lobbying. The vice president's wife, the president's wife, and even governors' wives.
Or what about the National Assembly members, their wives too?
Yes.
If they were mobilized and they were all involved.
You see, when I started, I said my people perish for lack of knowledge. These people are in position of authority. They have National Assembly.
I've quoted that scripture earlier today when I was talking with my colleagues backstage.
Okay. You see, people are human beings, but people don't have knowledge the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so as we are discussing this issue now, another person can come now and bring another dimension to it.
Perspective.
That people will say, oh, if I had known, would have used this opportunity. But they miss it. Maybe another time. Because I said this is the 5th alteration. More alterations will still come.
Yeah.
So the fact that this matter was presented and it was not passed does not mean it cannot be passed the next time.
Absolutely.
They can go and do their own work.
But do you think that the National Assembly made up for this rejection by saying that once a state chief executive is sworn in or a president is sworn in, he has 30 days to constitute the executive council. And in constituting that executive council, 10% of it must be women. Do you think that, is sort of a compensation for this 35% affirmative action? If we can't get 35% and we get 10%, isn't that something?
Well, just like the UNESCO, which is a branch of the United Nations, they have repeatedly told nations of the world that you should devote 26% of your budget to education. Nigeria is a member of the United Nations. Go and check the budget over the years. They have refused to do that. So if there is 35% affirmation as a result of meetings of women, meetings of United Nations and all the rest of them across the world, and they say 35%, it does not mean that the 35% should just be now. The advanced countries of the world, how many of them have implemented 35%? So if Nigeria, right now, by the recent amendment, they are giving women 10%, it is good. Maybe in the next 5 to 6 years, when there's another alteration, it may be 15%, maybe 20%. Gradually, we may get to 35%.
Okay. Let's talk about the issue of independent candidacy. That's been a major talking point in recent times in our political process. With this alteration, how realistic is that?
The issue of independent candidacy, to my mind, is not something that is going to work.
Why?
As I'm sitting here now, I feel like contesting the 2024 governorship election.
Yes.
In Edo State as an independent candidate. I need money to contest that election. Money I'm going to use to do campaign. Money I'm going to use to mobilize people to follow me. And when I say mobilize people to follow me, in each of the 18 local governments, I should have people there.
Yes.
And you know that because of the monetization of the electoral process or electionary process in Nigeria, it will be difficult for me as an independent candidate to campaign and win. So the idea of independent candidacy is good.
It will be difficult if you have the money, the resources?
If I have the money,
yes.
If I have the money,
yes.
It will not be difficult.
Okay.
But as an independent candidate, I don't have the money.
But don't you think that this will also curb the rascality or recklessness, lack of internal democracy on the part of political parties? Because it means that people who feel they have been shortchanged in the political process can now explore other means to actualize their political ambition?
Okay, if you look at it from that angle, that okay, if a candidate, in that case, it's still almost the same thing. If I'm in a political party, say I'm in the PDP right now, and I'm going to contest for the primaries of the governorship election in Edo State under the platform of the PDP, and after doing that, and I discovered that I was shortchanged. When I say shortchanged now, and I discovered that the process was manipulated in favor of one person, and I say, okay, bye-bye to PDP. I want to contest this governorship election as an independent candidate. The followers that I have in PDP who believe in me and they believe that this man can actually be the governor and lead well, they will follow me.
Yeah.
In that case now, I'm not just an independent candidate because I'm coming from somewhere. But if I wake up in the morning from my house and say I want to contest this election as an independent candidate, it will be difficult.
Okay.
You have to first of all
have a base.
Yes, you have a base.
Political base.
You have a political base where you are known, where you are accepted, before you can now say, okay, because of my popularity, which this my party do not want to respect and honor, let me now come with my popularity as an independent candidate, I can win an election.
If you just join us, it's still TMI Thursday, looking at some of the components of the constitution that has been passed, altered, if you like, by the National Assembly. That took place on Tuesday. Just looking at how all of these will shape governance, shape democracy, shape political parties, and what have you, particularly as we make giant steps towards the 2023 election. That's the next general elections we're going to be having in this country, as it were, even though we still have some pockets of elections here and there. But we'll just quickly look at something quite interesting. I recall that last year, at the peak of the insecurity challenge, the National Assembly did invite Mr. President to come and address the nation. He didn't turn up. Somewhere along the line, the matter was swept under the carpet. There is now a constitutional provision for that exercise. What do you make of this, Neville?
You see, as I said earlier, the recruitment process that we use to bring people to come and be our leaders is faulty. And because it is faulty, we use sentiment, we use religion, we use ethnic origin to begin to throw people up. And that's why I used to talk about late General Sani Abacha, when he talked about the 1995 draft constitution that later became 1999 constitution. It was embedded here that power shall be rotating among the 6 geopolitical zones. It was the one who created the 6 geopolitical zones and said power will be rotating among them. If the geopolitical zone number 1 was not central, after the person has completed his tenure, power will come to the south. If the person is coming from the south, south, the next time the power is going back to the north, it will be northeast or northwest. But those who now later came to promulgate the constitution decided to remove that aspect because they feel it's not going to be beneficial to them. Now, a person who is president and commander-in-chief of Nigeria, in this context now, President Muhammad Buhari, he does not need the National Assembly to tell him, come and address us about insecurity in the country. He does not need it. He would have, in a sane society, he would have on his own, say, let me go and brief the nation. And I still for the National Assembly right now that they fail to even insert in this constitutional amendment what we call a State of the Nation or State of the Union address.
Like we just saw President Biden?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether it is going to be every 3 months, whether it's going to be every 6 months, the president should come and address the nation by coming to the National Assembly to brief the nation about what has been happening in Nigeria and its government and what the government intends to do to solve the problem of the nation. The people the president also recruited around himself were the people that made the president not to appear. It's very, very shameful for a president of a nation not to appear before the National Assembly to address them and address the nation about insecurity. Very, very shameful. That is in the past now. I thank the National Assembly for again rising up to the occasion to say that it is not a constitutional matter. If you are someone, you have to appear. So if the president, and I would like them to test the waters now by reinviting the president to come and address the nation about insecurity. Because the insecurity is not only in one part of the country. Even his own state is ravaged by insecurity. He should come and address the nation. If we address, in the process of addressing the nation, he should arrange Nigeria to the 6 geopolitical zones. I want to bring fellow Nigeria's National Assembly distinguished senators. I want to address you today on the state of insecurity in Nigeria. For a better understanding, I break the country into 6 geopolitical zones. Number 1, Northwest geopolitical zone. This is made up of social number of states. This is insecurity in social state. Then you like that to the last, so that we now know, yes, this is the nature, and then people will now what the government is doing, and then people that will now react will now sell idea to the government what they are not doing that can help to bring this security to an end.
Overall, what's your assessment of this current alteration and expected impact on the 2023 election? What with the fact that we've also had the Electoral Amendment Act passed by the National Assembly, signed, assented to by Mr. President?
I thank the National Assembly for the bold step that they have taken to try to right the wrongs of the past that people have been crying about by the amendment that they have made in certain aspects that are beneficial to Nigerians and to certain levels and organs of government. What I did not like about the amendments, I was looking at what they were amending. Changing of names of local government.
Names of schools.
Yes, and all those ones were not, they are just like wasted effort.
Yeah, but some legislators are, they are, bringing that out as trophies. Trophies of achievements during that tenure, during that time. I saw a lot of that.
That one is uncalled for. But generally speaking, they have tried. Out of the 67 items that they had, majority of them scaled through, and I believe they are in the interest of the Nigerian state. All right,
Neville Obagado, it's always a delight to have you here. You have a way of bringing to bear your knowledge, skills, and experiences when it comes to issues like this. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
It's still TMI Thursday. We'll take a short break. I'll be here with my colleagues in a jiffy. Please stay with us on TMI.